The digital clock humming quietly on my nightstand was the only sound that my ears could pick up from my surroundings. The night was dead quiet. I knew he was there. Right on schedule, he would be standing outside my window. He would knock, and I, for reasons I wish I could explain, would open the blinds. He would stare at me, and I would stare at him. He would leave soon after, and I would stay awake until the sun began to rise. This was our routine. My mind was wandering 1,000 miles away when he first knocked, though my eyes had stayed lingering on the window. I told myself I wouldn't open the blinds. I told myself that tonight he wouldn't scare me, and I would get the rest I desperately needed. He knocked twice more. I held a pillow over my head and began humming an old song I used to sing in elementary school. He knocked again. At this time, he had done it a lot less courteously than he had in the past. It had become a loud thumping noise. I threw the pillow off my head and opened the blinds. His pale, wrinkly face leered at me. His lifeless black eyes that shone despite their darkness peered into my own. His stringy hair fluttered a little in the wind. He seemed to be breathing somewhat harshly, and though it was hard to determine his mood as anything other than emotionless, I could sense an amount of animosity that I had never felt before. After what seemed like hours, he turned around and was on his way. I faced the ceiling and wept. This had been going on for more than a month. I had tried to talk to others about it, but I could never finish my sentence. They would always degenerate into quiet mumbling and whimpers. I was so tired. And I had begun to wonder if I was losing my mind. I had tried sleeping pills, but even they couldn't help me through the horrid night. The weirdest part is that I always woke up about 5 minutes before he knocked. I knew, instinctively, that he would be there. I was so tired. The next night, I told myself that under no circumstances would I look out the window. I didn't even care if he was on the verge of breaking the glass. I would not give him what he wanted. I would not feed him. He would have to find someone else to terrify. He'll have to leave me alone. I woke up and I instantly knew what was going to happen. It's funny. I was anticipating his knocks, and yet I still jumped a little when I finally heard him. I laid in my bed quietly, as if I hadn't heard anything. He knocked again, and I hid under a pillow once more. He knocked again, even louder than he had the night before. I whimpered, but remained under the pillow. He knocked twice more. After that, things got quiet. I no longer had the feeling I was being watched. I pulled my head out from under my pillow and slowly looked out the window. Nothing. Nothing but my backyard. I laughed. I laughed so hard that little tears began to slip out of my eyes. He was someone else's problem now. I looked at the clock. I noticed that I had only been awake for about 15 minutes and turned over to go back to sleep. I had just gone to that area where dreams mingle with reality when I heard the distant click of a door. My back door. Someone had entered into my house from the outside. Something from my backyard. I knew it was him. I listened quietly as his footsteps made their way from my kitchen to my dining room to the short hallway outside my bedroom. He was walking slowly, patiently, and was not attempting to hide his presence at all. He was right outside my bedroom door. He knocked on my door and I almost vomited. I wanted to do something. Anything. I was paralyzed with fear. He knocked again. Trembling, I pulled the pillow back over my head. All that could be heard was the sound of weeping, knocking, and a digital clock humming quietly to itself. I was so tired.